Hello race fans, I'm Chris Terrell. I'm here for DailyFantasySportsRankings.com to bring you my weekly Daily Fantasy NASCAR post-qualifying picks video. What I'm going to be doing is going through my cheat sheet, looking at the practice and qualifying information, the updated model on the cheat sheet as well. You can also find that cheat sheet at DailyFantasySportsRankings.com. Right here on the main page under Other, you can click on my article. This preview article comes out Wednesdays and Thursdays usually, and what you can do is you can find there's links throughout the article. So read through, preview the article, check out the pre-practice, pre-qualifying picks that I have on here, some track history stuff, and then you can find another link at the very bottom of that article as well. Click on it and it's going to open a cheat sheet very similar to this for the Pennzoil 400. And that's where you're going to find all the track history information put together along with a model that you can adapt to whatever you feel is most important that week. If you're not a Daily Fantasy Sports Rankings member yet, be sure to get over to dfsr.com, click on that sign up button, and you're going to get a 7-day trial right now, which gives you access to some of the premium stuff that we got going on. As you can see, for NHL, NFL, NBA, and MLB, we have optimizer tools, and with those optimizer tools comes, especially with NFL, you got Player Lab, you got some of the leaderboard information, lots of advanced stats, and you can build up to 50 lines with that optimizer. The subscription is going to cover all of those sports together under one umbrella. So check us out today. With that, let's jump into this week's race. All right, this week we've got the Pennzoil 400 coming to you from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's a 1.5 mile intermediate track. Things are going to be a little bit different this year than we've seen in the past if you're breaking down track history. The 2019 season, we've seen the new rules package. We got a peek of it last week at Atlanta. One big change this week is not only is there the tapered spacer, the rear spoiler to create downforce. This week at Las Vegas, we've also got aero ducts at the front of the cars, which is going to help keep the cars closer together. And we did see a result when they tested here in February, as well as through the first practice, qualifying, and final practice this weekend as well. Just kind of looking at things. It's going to be an interesting week from a fantasy perspective just because of the draft. Qualifying was very draft heavy. A lot of drivers weren't really liking it. What we did see, and Kevin Harvick did predict, is that we're not going to see the fastest car up there on the pole. And he did win the pole, but he definitely wasn't the fastest car when looking at practice speeds. Didn't catch the draft in the right place. The guys that were fast, we're just going to go here. We'll look at the qualifying order here first. So yeah, Kevin Harvick won the pole. Denny Hamlin came in second with teammate Kyle Busch right behind him in third. And then you got teammates Austin Dillon and Daniel Hemrick. They've been fast together all weekend, been doing drafting together. They're both very cheap. So as long as, if they're going to stay in the draft, definitely like getting pairing them together. For value, just they're going to be GPP, I think, just basically because they're starting top 5. The kind of theme of building lineups this weekend, especially on DraftKings, is going to be place differential. It's going to race, there's going to be some qualities, I think, of like a Daytona, like a restrictor plate track on Talladega. Guys from the back are going to be able to move to the front quite easily, just kind of with some of that drafting that's going to go on and some of the strategies that we're going to see from some of the crew chiefs and teams there as well. So just kind of looking at final practice times here, looking at the fastest lap. There's Hemrick and Dillon right there at the top. You got Brad Keselowski, Almirola, Kurt Busch, Eric Jones, Ryan Newman up there in speeds as well. Kyle Busch, Stenhouse, and then we've got Kyle Larson wrapping up the top 10 there. So sorting here by DraftKings pricing, that's what most people are playing right now. I got my model figured out, so I'm looking, 50% of my model is looking at practice 2 speeds and then some qualifying practice differential. So the more weight I put on that column AS there is just more the model's going to be looking for drivers who are fast in practice but starting towards the back because of the wacky qualifying. Kind of the same model I use at a Daytona as well. I put some heavy weight on that. Normal tracks I'm usually only about 5-10% on that. So that's the way I've got it looking. Then the other 50%, we're looking at track history, track type history, and then how things have been going on the season as well. So if you want to adjust that model to, adjust the numbers around a little bit to what works for you, or if you're just playing on FanDuel or if you're just playing on DraftKings, you can create your own copy of this sheet by going up to File, make a copy, call it whatever you want, and click OK. And then you're going to have an editable version of that. And you just come up here and change these numbers and then just make sure that it comes out to 100 here. And then as you change those numbers, your overall weighted ranking on the far right and far left in orange there is going to change. So a couple drivers that stand out that I've already got listed on my target section here, and I will have that fully filled out here by probably about 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. So a couple guys that stand out, I'm just going to scroll over. We're going to look at these practice times. Brad Keselowski, first of all, started 19th. The success he's had here. He's won 3 of the last 6 races here, and he was top 5 in final practice, as well as 3rd in 10-lap averages out there as well. So he's got a -14 qualifying practice differential. He's #1 in the model this week. Really stands out. Martin Truex Jr. was on my radar early in the weekend. He did have some trouble there, with handling in final practice. Put up a 30th rank in final practice. Didn't even run a 10-lap span while he was out there. He has started 23rd. He's been awesome here. He's led a ton of laps. So I think now I've switched him over to more of a GPP only play. It's really nice that his price is coming in where it is at DraftKings as the 5th most expensive driver. But just with some of those issues, I think he's still got that top 5 winning upside there, but it's a little bit more risky than a guy like Keselowski that showed top 5 speed in final practice. Kyle Busch is going to be up there as well for me. He's got a chance to get out there and dominate laps. As you can see, he's starting 3rd, but looking at Harvick starting 1st with the troubles he had, I don't think he's going to lead too many laps. I don't think we're going to see a lot of those laps led. And the reason I say that, looking at some of the props from Vegas this weekend for this race, they've got total number of different drivers to lead a lap. Well, it's the over-under is set at 11.5. There was 9 in Atlanta last weekend, and that was a race where we seen Kyle Larson lead 142 laps. So I just don't think, I think we're going to see more. I would actually probably bet the over on that one. I'm thinking somewhere, 12, 13. And then the other prop bet that was out there was total number of lead changes, and the number I'm seeing most consistently is probably around 23.5. And the record here at Las Vegas is 28, and then we've seen 25, 24 a bunch of times. So they're kind of looking at that as, if you're betting the over, you're kind of thinking they're going to get near that, the most in history at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So I'm definitely thinking that we're going to see a lot of lead changes, probably 4 or 5 drivers each leading 20 laps. We could see that. We could even see somewhere maybe 2 or 3 drivers leading 50 laps, but I don't think we're going to see that 100 laps led mark from a driver from Dominator. So that lowers that a little bit and puts that emphasis on the place differential. So getting back into the picks here, a couple other guys that stand out here on the sheet this week, looking especially at that place differential right away, is Eric Almirola and Kurt Busch. They're both starting outside the top 20, 25th for Almirola, 28th for Kurt Busch. Both were top 10 in final practice. Almirola a little bit quicker. He was inside the top 5 in 10-lap averages and the 1-lap average there as well. So they're both going to be in my core this week. And then Eric Jones sandwiched in the middle of those two, I think, makes a nice GPP play. He started inside the top 20, showed top 10 speeds in that final practice today. I think he's going to be a little bit lower owned than Kurt Busch and Almirola. And with Kurt Busch, I definitely like doing some team stacking this week. So with Kurt Busch lineups, I'm going to have a lot of Kyle Larson mixed in. He's starting inside the top 10, so could be a little bit lower on, especially with Martin Truex Jr., Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, all up there taking up some ownership as well, and even some of these guys starting outside below him. But he was top 10 in 10-lap averages in that final practice, so Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, I definitely like for a stack. For the Joe Gibbs Racing side of things, my most comfortable stack with those two would be Kyle Busch and Eric Jones. If you can get Kyle Busch, Martin Truex, and Eric Jones in a lineup, definitely like that. Hamlin's kind of the odd man out for me here this week at Las Vegas. He doesn't have a strong track record here. He's starting 2nd, so he has negative place differential value, and he didn't have top 10 speed in final practice. So he's the odd man out for JGR for me this week. It's probably going to make him a great GPP play because he's going to be very low owned. But I think he would need to lead some laps and finish inside the top 3. And if you don't think he's going to do that, he's definitely not going to be the play that you're going to be looking for this week. Going down even farther, looking at some guys, we've got Austin Dillon. He ranks very well here, but he qualified 4th, so that leaves him as a GPP play, but he showed a ton of speed. Like I said, if you want to go GPP heavy, I think Austin Dillon and Hemrick would allow you could stack those two with pretty much any other stack out there because Hemrick is really cheap. And then we've got some other values out there as well. Ryan Newman sticks out in the model big time. 3rd overall, starting 29th. He's been successful here. He was one of the guys that hated the pack racing qualifying that they had this week. He'd rather go back to single car when he won like every pole every single week. That's not going to happen. But him starting 29th, showing top 10 speed with his history here at Las Vegas at 7,200 on DraftKings, 8,400 on FanDuel is an excellent value. And then one guy that I'm looking at, I talked about, I'm probably going to be doing in some of my stars and scrubs heavy lineups. If you want to go cash and you want to get 4 stars in there, 5 stars even, definitely you can go that way, is Ross Chastain. He's 24th in my model, which is pretty good considering that he is only 5,500 on DraftKings and almost low 3,500 on FanDuel. He has finished, just kind of going and looking at his record here, he has had some success here. He's starting 38th this week, which is dead last. Gives him positive place differential. He can't get negative place differential. All he can do is even if he finishes 38th. So there is, that small risk, but overall, I don't think there is a lot of risk. And he's raced here twice. Started 33rd last year in this race, finished 29th. Started 34th in the playoff race and finished 20th. So he only showed 33rd speed in final practice, but if he cracks that top 30, he's really crushing value at that price. And if he even finishes in that 33rd to 35th, he's still giving you those points. And for that price, especially on FanDuel, that's enough. If you get this top, if you really nail those top 4 or 5 drivers in your lineup in the stars section here. So that's definitely the way I'm looking. So overall, I'm looking at place differential a little bit more here. Really don't know what to expect. So what I will do is I will build probably about 60 to 70% of my lineups based around that place differential strategy. And then probably the rest, I'm going to get some dominators in there and play some, some contrarian GPP lineups as well. So I think I'm going to run both strategies, but like I said, I'm going to be a little bit more heavy on the place differential side of things. Thanks for checking out the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. A lot more videos coming out. PGA, NHL, NASCAR, and like I said, baseball season's right around the corner. Good luck this week, everyone.